Are you aware of the war that's happening inside yourself? And don't worry, it's not just you. In fact, I think it's happening within the minds and hearts of the rest of humanity, including myself. Now, what if I told you that this same war is responsible for all the conflict and misery we see in the world today? And if we were all aware of this great war, it would be the beginning of world peace and unlimited personal growth. Now, I know that's a loaded statement, and I stick beside it. Of course, I'm talking about the war between your higher and lower self. Chances are you're not even aware of which one you're operating from most of the time. So in this video, I aim to fix that. Welcome back to the Break the Matrix podcast, baby, where the awakening ones go to download new insight for their soul's evolution. So let's start, shall we? Please answer these 3 questions honestly. Number 1, do you hold yourself responsible for everything in your life? Or do you blame external circumstances for your life situation? Number 2, do you act from free will? Or are you a slave to your mental, emotional patterns and programming? Now, everyone likes to think that they're operating from free will, so let me rephrase that. Are you conscious of what you do before you do it? Or are you on autopilot mode most of the time, asking yourself, oh, why did I just do that? Again and again and again throughout the day. And number 3, are you unknowingly performing black magic on others? By that I mean talking negatively on someone's name. Yes, it is black magic. So what's the verdict? Are you operating from your lower self? Yes or yes? The truth of the matter is, guys, we all have moments of unconsciousness, no matter how far along our spiritual journey. The question is, do you have access to higher consciousness or not? Now, recently on the podcast, we've been going through the properties of the lower chakras and how to unblock them. Links to both the full episodes below, but let's just do a quick recap for those that didn't see it. The root chakra deals with basic survival and is blocked by fear. The sacral chakra deals with pleasure and is blocked by guilt. Now, the solar plexus chakra is what we'll be exploring in today's piece. And let me tell you, boy, we are in for a ride. All right, let's get started. Part 1, the seat of the self. Upon researching for this episode, I finally realized the overarching principle between these 3 energy centers. It deals with the lower self, more specifically the infamous ego that we hear far too much shit talk about, mostly because very few people understand its actual function. Now, this is where the solar plexus chakra now comes into play. We learn to become masters of the double-edged sword that we call ego. The solar plexus chakra is the dimension of consciousness that deals with will, ego, and personal power. It's the energetic seat of the self, if you will. It's the synthesis of the lower 2 chakras, a fusion of our primal animal ways and our desire for sensory pleasure. But unlike the root and sacral chakra, your free will is involved, which makes this chakra half higher and half lower consciousness. Now think about it. Those that are stuck in the lower 2 chakras have little to no free will in their lives. They're on NPC mode, if you will. Their everyday decisions determined by their psychological makeup of programming. Slaves to their own personal prison. The walls and bars being made of fears, desires, obsessions, and mental positions. And this is the reality of the untamed ego, the life of a soul who has not yet tamed their inner villain. And it's within this solar plexus chakra that this darkness finally gets a chance to be transmuted into something higher. This is where we finally get a taste of higher consciousness. And this is quite complex stuff, so I'm going to illustrate this. Now, to illustrate this, I want to walk you through the morning routine of 2 people, Kaizen and Kaiteki. By the way, if you didn't know, Kaiteki means comfort in Japanese, and Kaizen, you know what Kaizen means, dog. So let's walk through Kaiteki's routine. Kaiteki, he's a simple man. He wakes up, he grabs his phone, he scrolls on social media until a mental pain point arises. Oh shit, I have to work. Oh shit, I have to clean the house. Oh shit, I have to wake up the kids. This, that. In this case, Kaiteki has work. So he scrolls and scrolls and scrolls until he can't anymore and then rushes to the bathroom to start his morning routine. Lo and behold, he rushes to work in a frazzled state of mind and wonders why he feels so stressed out about his life situation. Wonders why he feels so stressed out and blames his life situation. He blames his job. He blames the fact that he doesn't get to work on time because of his commute or whatever, right? Now let's look at Kaizen's morning routine. Now Kaizen's morning routine starts the night before. Before he goes to bed, he leaves his phone in another room due to past experiences of wasting his morning being programmed by other people's lives, aka scrolling social media. Now it's the next morning. Kaisen wakes up and feels the urge to go on his phone and lay in his bed just like every single other person. But then he realizes he left his phone in the other room, so he can't anyway. Then he wakes up and starts his morning routine. The difference between Kaizen and Kaiteki is subtle, but the results are major. Kaiteki allowed the conditions for his lower self to arise. The lower self will always seek comfort and never allow for evolution. Kaizen, on the other hand, was conscious of the cause and effect cycle that morning scrolling has on him, and so took precautions the night before. Kaizen understands that by saying no to our conditioning, we in turn gain personal power. This story depicts the difference between someone with a blocked and awakened solar plexus chakra. Someone with a blocked solar plexus chakra is impulsive, unconscious of the cause and effect cycles in their life, and ultimately blames external forces for their life situation, aka an external locus of control. Now, someone with an awakened solar plexus chakra is energetically responsible, meaning they're responsible for the energy that they give and the energy that they receive. They are conscious of the cause and effect cycles of their life. And lastly, they are aware that at some level, they are ultimately responsible for the outcomes in their life, aka an internal locus of control, right? So yes, this is the energy center of adulting, so to speak. We start to become responsible for how our inner state is and no longer rely on external forces to make us feel whole. We see through the illusion of instant gratification, the illusion being it doesn't gratify us at all. Now, becoming an adult in our life experience, aka having an internal locus of control, doesn't have to be as boring as you think. Actually, it's not at all. I think it's the opposite. The lower self, explained Black magicians. The lower self is like that friend that always likes to party. They're fun in the short term, but check on them a few years later and all they do is complain about the existence they've created for themselves. What's sad is they never admit that they created it. It's always because of him or her or that thing that happened. If only they knew they were literally performing black magic on themselves and others. Yes, nigga, black magic. I believe the average person is a black magician without even knowing. Now let me make this crystal clear for you. Every time we hatefully talk about another being, including ourselves, it is a form of black magic. How, you may ask? It kind of relates back to the realization I had on some shroomies the other day. Our thoughts and words, like everything else in this universe, carry a vibration. Think a negative thought is one thing, but to say it out loud with the power of word is to project that intention out into reality and manipulate it in some form, whether it be to your own demise or your own egoic satisfaction. Never forget this quote: words cast spells. That's why it's called spelling. The word abracadabra, you know what people say when they're casting spells, literally means I create what I speak. You didn't know that, did you? Yeah, it's a mind fuck, bro. Language is literally a spiritual gift that allows us to manipulate reality to our will, right? Let me give you an example of this. How many times have you heard someone say something negative about you, right? And you go and you unconsciously make it into a belief about yourself. Say someone calls you ugly, for example. Hey man, you're ugly as hell. Ugly ass, right? If that hurt you, you on some level identify with the belief of you being ugly. Like literally think about it. If somebody called you broke, but you know you have 100k in your bank account, you would just laugh them off. You'd be like, lol, with your broke ass. You know what I mean? You'd laugh it off. And this is why words are literally agreements. When someone says something about you, whether it be an opinion or anything, if you react to it, you are energetically agreeing to what they are saying. You are making it real. This is why I said everybody on some level has a blockage in the solar plexus chakra, because logically, nothing anyone says about you is any of your business at all. It's an inner projection of their own pain. But that doesn't stop you from reacting. So yeah, man, every time we speak badly of others, we are literally encouraging the inner world of that person to feel negativity, who in reality is just another soul going through the same suffering and the same karmic cycles as your ass. So in conclusion, it's your untamed ego that's deluding you into painting a negative story about other people. And even in the context of self-talk too. Let me give you some examples of black magic, right? A parent who is in a position of power, calling their child an idiot is a form of black magic. Do you know why? Because that child will hear that and agree with it since it's coming from their primary caregiver. And now that child will grow up subconsciously thinking of himself as an idiot, believing he's an idiot his whole life. And we call that bad self-esteem. But in reality, that parent has just changed the course of that child's life forever with their black magic. And that goes the same for a friend, for example, that chats shit behind your back. And then that causes your other friends to move weird with you in the friend group. And then depending on how strong your solar plexus chakra is, this could lead to you talking shit about yourself and your own life situation. Oh, nothing works out for me. Oh, I hate my life. Oh, these guys don't fuck with me. No one fucks with me. Shut up, man. Do you actually see now? This is the cycle of telepathy and how telepathy works, because at the end of the day, the solar plexus chakra works with telepathy too. If somebody was to say to you, I hate you, but with the most loving eyes, that's like, it doesn't feel the same as I hate you. There's a different energetic pull that you receive in your solar plexus chakra. So, do you see now? Any form of criticizing, condemning, or complaining cuts you off from the greater, higher realities. Now, before we get onto the higher self, I want to weed out all my black magicians that are listening by giving the first action step of this video, which is cleansing the inner waters. Yes, another thing that the solar plexus chakra deals with, madly, is perfect health. And the reason for that is, remember that in the last episode where I told you guys to do an inner lake visualization with me? That inner lake being your emotions. Yes. If you're someone that has a habit of speaking negatively, you begin to make it part of your character, right? And that character resides in the solar plexus chakra. And then this emotion, this character, whatever you want to call it, stagnates and it causes dis-ease in the body because it's negative, dirty emotion. So to combat dis-ease and bad vibes this winter, I got two solutions for you. Number one, I call no negative 24. A lot of us walk around as skilled ass black magicians, bro, purely from the programming of the society around us. Like me growing up in London, I've been taught it's cool to criticize, condemn and complain all the fucking time. Oh, that's moist. Oh, that's wet. Oh, why are you getting excited? So when I left London, I actually realized that my negative commentary on the world was the anchor that was sinking me down to everything I hate. All that negativity only serves to charge the things that we despise, and it makes everything seem worse than it actually is. In the great words of Shakespeare, we suffer more in imagination than in reality, right? And I'm not asking you to believe this statement. Oh no, test it out for yourself in your waking reality. Wake up tomorrow, my guy, and try not to say one negative word for the whole 24 hours. By that I mean do not criticize, do not condemn, and do not complain. The whole day, try to be a half glass full kind of person. Do you know what I mean? I found that Shakespeare's hypothesis rings very true. Not to say that we should bottle up our emotions and not say how we feel, because when we feel negative, yes, surrender to negative emotion is sometimes necessary. But programming yourself to be an optimistic person as default is key. Now that was the first solution. The second solution is a little word from our Kaisen Shrooms sponsor, aka me. I was finally able to drop this just in time for winter. And little do you guys know, I actually made this blend for me more than you guys. Reason being, I class myself as a quote-unquote high-performance hippie, right? Like, I work 50 hours plus on this Kaizen empire for you guys. And I do have a lot of quote-unquote stresses in my life. But yet, if you're anything like me, dog, you're also very health conscious. You like taking care of the foundation of it all, which is your health. So this is why I've created and why I have Kaisen Shrooms every single morning. Now, I've included 6 adaptogenic mushrooms in this blend that help you, scientifically proven to lower stress, both mental and physical, in your life, including anxiety. And also, because I like to break my fast with this, I added a prebiotic trio, which is organic inulin, organic tea leaf extract, green tea leaf extract, and ginger root. This helps give my gut microbiome what it needs and also prevents blood sugar spikes, which manifests as anxiety and hunger and holding fat onto the body. Look up insulin resistance. That's what happens when you eat cereal in the morning or something high in sugar. But no, man, my mood feels noticeably better and more stable around this time of year, November, December. I always get ill no matter what I do. But Kaisen Shrooms seems to have sorted me out this winter, and I think that's because of the effect that mushrooms have on your immune system. Mushrooms are immunomodulators, long ass word, which basically means it raises the defenses of your immune system when it needs to, and lowers it also when it needs to, like for example in an allergic reaction, etc, etc. Anyway, my Kaisenites, everything you need to know about Kaisen Shrooms is in the link below. Let me know if you want me to do a full episode on mushrooms in general, because that is a very, very, very big interest of mine. I find them fascinating as hell. I've also included a very special discount below for you guys, my podcast listeners. If you're a high performance hippie like me and need something to supercharge your mornings, look no further, man. Discount ends very soon and I don't know when we're going to sell out, so act fast, please. And also remember, by getting Kaisen Shrooms, you're literally supporting me directly through what I do here, which is trying to synthesize spiritual information and condense it to use in your daily life. From very spiritual concepts to very digestible podcasts. That's me. You know what I'm saying? Love y'all guys, man. But anyway, that's enough plugging for right now. Back to the episode. The higher self explained. The spiritual warrior. Guys, the self-confidence of a warrior is not the self-confidence of the average man. The average man seeks certainty in the eyes of others and calls that self-confidence. The warrior seeks impeccability in his own eyes and calls that humbleness. The average man is hooked to his fellow man. The average warrior is hooked only to infinity. Now, that is a quote by the amazing Don Juan Matus, right? It explains the path of those who choose to embody their higher self very potently. The pursuit of embodying your higher self is the path of becoming a spiritual warrior. Why? Because you're cultivating the skill of fighting against your different ego selves. Think about it. Your ego is a being with a million faces. One day this face wants this, the other day the next face wants that. People want to get married. They fall in love and they're like, oh my God, I have never felt like this about anyone else. I want to marry this person. And then as soon as it gets boring, a new face pops up and it's like, I want to cheat. Do you know what I'm saying? We are fickle and very indecisive. This is why the symbolism of the fight between good and evil has manifested in so many popular modern movies. Take The Matrix, for example. Yeah, Neo versus Agent Smith. Did you deep that that's the story of your consciousness versus your ego? Neo, which is just an anagram for one, being consciousness, and Agent Smith being ego. Like, think about it. Agent Smith isn't one but many, just like the ego is a legion of faces and pops up everywhere as we continue on the path. And remember too, Neo doesn't ever defeat Agent Smith. It's not about your consciousness defeating or killing your ego. He just becomes infinitely stronger by fighting him. So it should be clear, the ego should be used as a tool to get infinitely stronger, not to kill it, because it's literally a dimension of consciousness, your ego. You can't interact with this world, this physical reality, without your ego as the bridge. You understand? So cut all that kill the ego bullshit. It's about using our conscious awareness to bridge the gap between destructive ego to constructive ego. You get it now? The ego isn't inherently evil. It's the driver of our manifestation in life. It's just been hijacked to want unfulfilling things. It just needs training like a wild animal. Now, the bridge to seeing your wildest dreams isn't pretty, but it's simple. Spiritual responsibility. That's it. Becoming spiritually responsible is more than just making the right decisions in the morning, like I said at the start of this video. It's about stopping the blame of external forces for your life situation, your life's experience. In a sense, you separate yourself from the insanity of the hive mind and you become fully self-reliant, which means you no longer crave external validation for fulfillment. It's as if you come to see the ego for what it truly is, and what I've been saying for this whole episode, a double-edged sword, guys. It's capable of making your life a mosaic of excellence or a pit of regret and guilt and shame. So let me share the story of how I quote-unquote transformed my ego. Part 2. How I transcended my lower self. The first time I realized this concept, I was 18 and very, very obsessed with manifestation. That was the only part of spirituality I knew and loved. I was also a massive believer in like hustle culture. So I thought the more I worked, the higher my chances are at, success. And my success was making 6 figures a year and getting my dream car. A shallow goal, I know, but I was a shallow man at 18. I didn't yet realize that I had to become the path before I could ever walk it. Problem is, I didn't know the path. You know what I'm saying? So the journey to awakening my higher self was essentially by burning the boats, giving myself no other option but to evolve. I don't recommend this for many people, but it is very effective. So yeah, while society was shut down through COVID, I locked myself in an apartment away from my familiar comfort of London City, and I set an intention to come to grips with the programming of my lower self. At that time, I called it finding myself. And yeah, man, through psychedelic experimentation, radical accountability, and a whole lot of existential suffering, I somehow got to the other side. Yes, actually very, 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 very lucky you're seeing me. I successfully unraveled the inner workings of my psychology, of my mind, and the secrets of my ego, so to speak. Those psychedelic experiments taught me that the ego acts as our own form of artificial intelligence. It's quite fucked. It literally takes over our consciousness to seek the same experiences it's always known. This is how the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. It's all in a bid to reenact our childhood and stay in that comfort zone. And so that's when I realized that in order to break that cycle and create something new for myself, I had to die to the past. You must die to your past. So from that understanding, the path was clear. To awaken my higher self, who resonates with abundance and prosperity, I have to deprogram from this past-based self who only knows my family's generational curses. So from there, I got to embodying my higher self. Here's how I did it. Step 1, designing the higher self. I needed a North Star. You need a North Star. Without that, you default to your programmed behaviors. After all, that's all you've known, right? So when I was doing this, I had to ask myself, who is it that I want to be? What exactly do I want to do for work? How do I want to impact the world, both on a personal and artistic basis? And at that time, I was just another TikToker making comedy videos for my 15 minutes of fame and some sponsorship money. Ugh. I knew deep down, look, don't let that fool you. I don't despise who I was back then. I really don't, because I had to be that person in order to transform and transcend, right? But I knew deep down that if I carried on down that path, I would never impact the world the way I wanted to. I knew I was destined for more, you know that feeling. Well, you definitely know that feeling because you're watching this video and you still are. Jeez. So I stepped away from TikTok for a month or so to reinvent myself and create somebody new. Somebody that reflects my highest potential, a self that is known for my idea of greatness. So this made the first step quite easy because I didn't have to take any action yet. This is actually the most fun part now that I think about it. The only things required for this is a pen, a piece of paper, your goddamn self, and some good old solitude, bro. So let's do this thought exercise right now. Write down these questions. This is the time to take action. If you don't do this, you're not serious, blood, so there's no even point in watching to the end. Ask yourself these 5 questions and write down whatever comes to mind. Number 1, what does your higher self look like? Have a crystal clear picture in your mind of what this higher self actually physically looks like. What build are they? Do they go to the gym? What hair do they have? Do you know what I mean? Like, what do they wear? What do they do for fun? What do they take any substances? Do you know what I mean? Like, are they just completely stone cold sober? Brainstorm go through a day in the life of your higher self. These questions create the person in your mind, and that is the first step to actually summon this person into waking reality. Me personally, I'm living the life that I wanted to live when I was in Birmingham at 18. I'm literally doing it right now. I'm literally making a video for my dedicated fans on how to better themselves. You know what I mean? Like, that is crazy to me. But I'm also embodying my next higher self by writing books, by making long form content. It's a process, but you'll get there. Question number 2. What is your ultimate life purpose? Now stop. I already know what you're going to say. Oh no, that's a loaded question. I don't know the purpose of my life. Existential angst. Stop. Luckily, I've kind of already done the soul searching to tell you life's general purpose, right? And hey, disagree if you want to, but I feel like you're going to fuck with it. The purpose of life is to add to the palette of the universe. It's that simple. That means add something of value by creating something that the next generation can build off of. That simple. Like chlorophyll, for example. The bloody things that's dropping off the trees outside right now. Chlorophyll actually started off as a single-celled organism in the ocean when there was no oxygen at all on this planet. And little by little, bit by bit, these guys figured out how to do photosynthesis and create oxygen. And bit by bit, it started bubbling up. Do you think them chlorophylls knew the purpose of life? No, but they added to the palette of the universe by adding oxygen, for there now to be life on Earth. You know what I mean? Your life purpose doesn't have to be anything crazy. That was my point in all of this. The God algorithm, quote unquote God, creates us with different life circumstances so we can create a new color of being for others. I hope that made sense. So yeah, man, to be more specific, consider how your unique skills, passions, life experiences and values align with your higher life's purpose. Or if you don't like life's purpose, broader mission. Just call it a mission. Sometimes I like mission, you know? This will serve as the guiding light for your higher self to refer to. For example, for me, I found my life's purpose is to synthesize spiritual knowledge to make it more accessible for my generation to apply it to their lives. That way, the answers to our existential problems and suffering isn't lost because everybody is so obsessed with the culture. Like, I'm trying to be part of the culture and I'm bringing all of that kind of like spiritual knowledge and whatever and imbuing it into it so other people can take it away and be more present. And this manifests in my life away from work too, since this stuff helps me become a better and more present entrepreneur, friend, boyfriend / future husband, and friend. I think I already said that, but friend, bro, literally. So how are you going to add to the palette of the universe, my friend? Question number 3. What kind of person do I need to be to achieve my vision? Consider the qualities, skills, and mindset necessary to accomplish your goals and life purpose. Reflect on personal growth areas such as resilience, adaptability, leadership, or even empathy. Remember, guys, you are literally building the 2.0 version of yourself. So don't allow your ego to give you reasons why you can't be a certain way or why you can't do a certain thing. If you want to be it, you can be it. You just have to break the habit of being yourself. Question number 4, what specific goals will lead you towards your vision? This one is key, guys. Define clear, actionable goals that align with your life's purpose. These goals should be, we've all gone to school and learned about SMART goals, guys. Specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. Sorry, I had to look at my laptop for that. I forgot. This is how you achieve your long-term vision, by breaking it down into smaller, more achievable milestones. For me, I wanted to make a living by raising the collective vibration on social media. So for me, it was pretty simple. Mine was very simple, actually. The only thing I had to do was make 3 TikToks a day, every day, until I'm doing it for a living. This process got me fired from my job because I was literally making TikToks when I was supposed to be on the phone being like, hello, you're through to this company. My name's Jay. How can I help you today? And I was doing that and making TikToks and doing that and making TikToks. You know what I'm saying? And then they found me out and they were like, yeah, you got to go, bro. A month later, the universe aligns and gives me 1 million followers. Do you know what I mean? It's because I believed. You need to believe. But I wouldn't be able to believe or even get there if I didn't become the person capable of doing that first. Do you know what I mean? And then the last question, this one's it's going to take a long time for you to actually understand this if you haven't done this exercise before. Number 5, what legacy do you want to leave behind? What's the 20-year marathon looking like, bro? Reflect on the long-term impact of what you want to make and the legacy you want to leave for future generations. Consider how your achievements, your creations, and everything that you do, your values and contributions to this world will be remembered after you're gone. But don't worry about this too much, guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, most people will be completely forgotten in the first 50 years of their death even if they're lucky, you know what I mean? And that takes the pressure off a little bit, right? Just remember, you're going to die one day and people are going to forget about you, even me. Now, by reflecting on these questions, you can develop a comprehensive and well-defined life vision, which your higher self needs to be manifest. And also, remember that your vision evolves over time, yeah? This is very important. You have to reflect on these questions periodically throughout your life. It's not just a one and done thing. I've done this like literally yesterday, bro. You have to ensure that you're constantly evolving if you want to be a true Kaizen, you know what I mean? Step 2. Burning the lower self. Guys, the difference between your higher and lower ego is defined by one thing and one thing alone: your level of consciousness. How much conscious intention have you put into the character you see today? Wait, let me say that again. How much conscious intention have you put into the character people see you as today? Before doing the next exercise, I want you to ask the closest person in your life this question. Describe me with 5 words, and don't hold back. I want to understand my darkest qualities. Say that word for word. This question alone is a massive leap towards your higher self, because you're no longer shying away from dissolving the negative aspects of your ego. Remember, these negative aspects were implanted in you. They are not you. So by asking the people around you this question, is showing that you're no longer identified with them. And that's a big thing. So yeah, man, once you do this, you'll be aware of the unwanted qualities of your ego, number 1. And also you'll actually have a choice in displaying these characteristics, because you have a choice, because you know that it's in you now. You're aware of them. So examples include defensiveness. Personal example. My girl, bloody hell, she was like, yeah, you're so defensive. This was like a year ago in St. Lucia. I was like, what do you mean I'm not defensive? How dare you say I'm defensive? And I was like, oh shit. You know what I mean? It'll be like that. Also things like aggression, shyness, anything quote unquote negative, or you may see as negative, it needs to be brought up. And this is probably the hardest step, man. This step is not easy, because you are literally losing who you thought you were. Some people call this dark night of the soul. I literally dedicate a whole chapter to this in my book. It's like the first ugly stage of spiritual awakening, but we go through it through different times in our life. You know what I mean? The first step to burning this lower self is self-inquiry. The first step to burning this lower self is understanding that it consists of agreements that you subconsciously agreed to take on at a very young age. Remember that example I said about the emotionally immature parent calling their child an idiot? That's you. That's me. If that didn't happen, you wouldn't be watching this video trying to transcend your lower self. So yeah, man, there's a fat chance that everybody watching this video has been subjected to black magic. And to break free from this black magic cast upon us by other lost souls, we must self-inquire. This is the process of coming to terms with what we think and why we think that way. And let me tell you, man, a lot of people are scared as hell to do this, because they are still trapped in ego and scared to be wrong about their beliefs. But for the spiritually responsible, let's go through it. So again, you'd sit down with yourself, some solitude, a pen and a piece of paper, and ask yourself these questions. What kind of thoughts did I accumulate about reality when I was growing up? What kind of beliefs did I form about myself? Where did they come from? Was it me? If so, how did I come to believe that? Or was it from others like my parents or my classmates? If so, why did I take them on? Are these thoughts and beliefs true at any level? Do I still act them out today? Do they determine my emotions or thoughts about reality 30 to 40 years later? How have they determined your life, your health, your consciousness, your circumstances, your relationships, your self-esteem, everything? This is why I'm writing my book right now, because when I started doing this specific practice, I realized that we're all living in our own boxes. This process will get you in contact with the core reason why you carry out certain behaviors. And 9 times out of 10, this behavior is stemming from a belief that you had to believe as a child in order to keep you safe, but it's no longer serving you. So yeah, man, this self-inquiry practice is a lifelong practice. It's not something you do one and done again. Do this anytime you catch yourself falling into unconscious habits. And don't worry if you can't do this now, it's fine. As long as you hold it within your vibration with an intention to figure it out, synchronicity will happen. What is synchronicity, you may ask? Synchronicity is the process of holding within your vibration an intention to discover certain things, having faith that you will find the answer in your day-to-day experience, right? 222 is a form of synchronicity, yes, angel numbers, but it's about being in tune with the higher order of the universe. If there's anything you take action on in this video, please make it self-inquiry, yeah? Okay, number 2, recapitulation. This is a shamanic process that me and my girlfriend used when we were going through our first spiritual awakening in Birmingham. Now, it's the practice of intensely reflecting on your past life's experience, all the bad shit, all the negative moments that happened in your life that shape who you are today. You fully internalize these negative experiences, you write them down, and you burn them. We do this with the intention to release all the baggage, the noise, the limiting energies of the past, so we can free up energy to create this new reality that we want. This is how you free up energy within your ego to be reborn into whatever you want to be. And the only reason this works is because the past is not real. It's not inherently real. It only exists as stagnant energies within yourself that you keep carrying out. Something happens in your past, you store it within your psyche, you identify with it and make a self out of it, and then boom, mental emotional pattern begins. You know what I mean? So this was massively life-changing for me. When you do it properly, you can let go of a lot and make room for an entirely new reality to come forth, bro. You know what I'm saying? Magic is fucking real, and it's this. You know what I mean? Number 3, the last practice, breaking your internal boundaries. Let me get all cozy and nice and close for this one. This last practice is the most significant, yet the one you want to hear the least. That is taking action. Guys, showing yourself that it's possible to become somebody you've never been. This is what solar plexus chakra mastery is all about. It's becoming that higher version of yourself, and you only do that through doing. The mantra for the solar plexus chakra is I do. The root is I am. The sacral chakra is I feel. This one, I do. You have to do. This is where we begin to implement all the changes to access true free will and higher consciousness. It's the shift that happens when you realize that everything you could possibly want resides in you already. Listen very carefully, guys. You have everything within you. You have all the gods, archetypes, spiritual teachers, you name it, living, flowing through your DNA. At this point, when you realize this, when you internalize, when you understand this point, guys, that's when these videos, gurus, books, anything acts as just catalysts to connect with your own inner teacher. Everything I said in this video, everything I say in every single one of my podcasts, you already know. I'm just activating a remembrance within you. You understand? So yeah, by beginning to sort out all of this inner baggage and insecurities, we pave the way for spiritual and personal freedom. Solar plexus chakra is the chakra of freedom, free will from our lower self and our mental emotional patterns, our programming. We no longer create negative ties with ourselves or others through gossip, drama, insults, and the rest, because you stop feeding negative narratives. You understand? And because you stop feeding those negative narratives, we no longer create negative ties with ourselves or others through insults, gossips, dramas, and the rest, right? And because we stop feeding negative narratives, other people are going to stop projecting negativity onto us, right? And even if they do, you no longer give a fuck because you understand they're just a lost soul. You know what I'm saying? So that telepathy, that black magic can't be cast on you anymore because you're one with the divine, you're higher. You understand? We literally, with this solar plexus chakra, with this freedom, we literally begin to create a reality that aligns with our highest vision and take the necessary steps to get there. So yeah, man, that's been the solar plexus chakra episode. I'm going to end this with a quote that sums up everything I just said. And it comes with a message to really try to pierce through whoever I'm speaking to right now. Everything we do, everything we are, rests on our personal power. If we don't have enough personal power, the most significant, magnificent piece of wisdom can be revealed to us, and it won't make a damn bit of difference. You understand? If you made it to the end of this episode, then you have a real personal power within you. You really want to change. I know you want to realize your dreams. Bad. And all it takes is to implement this video. That's it. Don't go to any other videos about personal power or solar plexus chakra. Start by proving it to yourself in this video and doing every single action step. But other than that, guys, thank you so much for indulging in today's episode of the Break the Matrix podcast. You just invested your time into transcending your lower centers. If you ask me, that's time well spent. You know what I'm saying? So this episode marks the last of the lower chakras episodes. This was a new style of podcast for me. If you didn't tell, I decided, since I'm writing a book, this podcast could act as a way to hone my craft in writing. So I wrote this whole episode out in a way that hopefully made sense to you. It literally took me a good 20 hours to write this shit. But if you're more of a reader yourself and you like to receive these podcasts in blog form, newsletter form, just go click the link down below. You'll get newsletters every weekend along with personal updates on all my projects and a free reading list. So go ahead, sign up down below, guys. If you'd like to, go deeper into your spiritual evolution, I'm also on Patreon. I'm currently running a Chakra Awakening Challenge, basically making videos on all of the practices that I've done to transcend each chakra. We're talking about forest bathing, gym routines with Mrs. Kaisen, you know what I'm saying? How to meditate like me, and a whole lot more, man, just to feel presence and bliss daily. Also, I don't know how long I'm going to keep this Patreon up as well. It's more of an experiment to see if you guys actually want it. You know what I mean? So we currently have 12 in the chat. Shout out to them. And if you'd like to be a supporter of my work further, you guys know what to do. Don't forget to grab your Kaisen Shrooms discount before it ends. That's enough plugging for today. Until next time, my friend, remember, the mirror cannot smile until you do. I love you. Kaisen out, baby. In a bit.